Assignment 4, Project Reflection. As I synthesize my learning from Assignment 2, I feel that my learning has grown in many different areas. The first area that I felt that I have grown was my knowledge on how to use of differentiated learning platforms to improve middle school math deficits. From my research, I discovered that implementing this into a classroom can help close mathematical gaps of my students. But like most of all, other digital resources. These types of programs need to be implemented with fidelity if they're going to be able to best meet the students' deficits. The second area that I felt that I have grown was learning about all the capabilities Google Slides had to offer. This is a great digital tool that I have not spent much time using. I thought Google Slides was just like PowerPoint, but I was wrong. Google Slides provides the user with different layouts to choose from than just a normal PowerPoint slide. My group decided to use the notebook feature. This was a very cool feature that was offered, but I had to do some research on how to utilize this program to its full capability. The third thing that I learned was how to find reliable digital resources. This was something that was pretty new to me since I have really had not done much research in my career as a math teacher. But I was introduced to Google Scholar from a colleague of mine, and this made finding my resources very easily. I will need to make sure that I keep this in mind as I do my future education master classes. What surprised me was how many research articles and studies that I could find on my topic. The studies that I came across had been conducted in the US and in other countries around the world. When I look at the results, it surprised me how similar their findings were and how well the use of differentiated learning platforms improve middle school mathematics. What challenges that I came across through this process? My first challenge on this assignment was to find reliable resources articles that pertain to my focus. When I first started to do my research, I was coming across articles that were not very pertained to the research question I had. After talking to one of my colleagues, like I said before, they introduced me to Google Scholar, which made finding my research a lot easier. The second challenge was working with a group online, which is sometimes what I dread to do. This is because normally one of the two people do all the work while the other group may just sit there and watch. In my group, everyone did their portion of the project. As the time drew near to the end, I started to become nervous because one of my group members was not done yet. Another challenge another challenge was at the start of the project when getting the communication started with the team members. Um, we did email, but this could also be through video chat or a Zoom call, and just getting that time set aside to start that communication to get the project started. When looking at the IET standards, the two IET standards that best represents my portion of my group project was the first one, IET Standard Educator 2.5b, use technology to create and adapt personalized learning experiences that foster independent learning and accommodate learner differences and needs. This represents my part of my group project because the digital differentiated learning programs like iReady are designed to adapt and personalize each student's learning based on their learning differences. The second IET standard, Educator 2.6b, manage the use of technology and student learning strategies in digital platform, virtual environments, hands-on, marketplace, or in the field, also represents my part of my group project because teachers will have to monitor and manage their students' learning to make sure they are making growth. If students are not making growth, some hands-on or one-on-one or small group instruction might need to take place. When looking at the key takeaways, one of the three things that I will take away from my assignment is promoting conversations between students while using technology. I found Deborah Goldberg's presentation to be very beneficial and interesting. She reinforced the importance of peer interaction and communication. Like Deborah said, if students are not talking or explaining math, no true learning is taking place. I believe that this is very true, and I've tried my best to have students talk greater than the teachers talk. This information just helps reinforce to me that I need to make sure that I keep encouraging my students to have great math discourse during the class. The next thing that I will take away is from Lane Albert's presentation. He investigated how effective implementing social media in a classroom would be. Lane did a great job with explaining and giving tips on how to create my own social media platform for my classroom. This was always been an idea of mine to create a Facebook page, but have not done so to build the courage to do this. After reading through his presentation and the tips he gave, this is something that I want to start to plan to implement next school year. The third key takeaway is from Jennifer Olson's presentation. She investigated the impact of flipped classrooms. The information that Jennifer provided gave a good understanding of the benefits and limitations of a flipped classroom. I have always thought about doing a flipped classroom to teach my students math. After reading her post, it gave me more information on using different types of technology and tips on how to implement into my teaching that I needed to know to be able to properly implement a flipped classroom.